Just a trigger warning, this episode will contain references of death, which some viewers might find distressing. On today's episode, we talk all things death.
What happens to your bodies when we die?
Can we be buried with a layer of Molly May filter fake tan on?
Do you still get an erection?
We debunk all your morbid curiosities. Hi guys, welcome back to Tea at 4. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Billy, and this is the podcast where we talk all things that normally stay in the group chat.
So today we are joined by an incredibly special guest. Here we have Hayley.
Welcome.
Welcome. And you are also known as the mortuary tech on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just for some context, I have an infinite amount of questions about you and your job.
Okay.
As someone
Some
that
will
is
be dumb.
infinitely scared of death.
Just like spooky season.
And Billy likes spooky season. So why don't we start with you explaining what your job is as a mortician and what that entails?
So I basically prepare the deceased for their loved ones to be able to say goodbye to them. Mm-hmm. So that can be embalming, makeup, hair, and recreational work on their face if they've had trauma injuries. So my job is basically making sure they look presentable for their families to say goodbye.
And what is embalming? Like, what is...
We remove your blood from your carotid artery. Wow. Nice little juicy artery right there. We pump that out of you, put arterial fluid in, and hope to give you more of like a normal colour, because within death you will go different colours. You can go yellow, orange, and black and purple quite quickly in some cases. So we want to get rid of that, pump you with arterial fluid, and then we make you up during that process.
Oh my God. And like, how long from like you're dead and then going a different colour?
Depends on the situation, really. If you're outdoors, not long. If you're indoors and you've got the heating on and you're sat up, a lot of elderly people, believe it or not, pass away on the toilet. They really do. Or sat in their armchair, and you can go quite quickly. You're talking maybe 48 hours, you'll see heavy discoloration.
Wow.
What is it that make what
blood
is
pooling is the lividity. So it's basically all your blood just pooling up, your arteries swelling because it's blood's clotting and thickening, and that gives you the different colour.
This is wild. Just for some like random context, my nan, when she was younger, she was 14 and preparing dead bodies at the local hospital, and like the things that she would describe has obviously stuck with her for life, like the sounds, the look of a dead, like the releasing of gas.
Yeah.
Like me hearing a 14-year-old nan being able to deal with that is mental. I guess, what on earth made you interested in this profession?
If I'm being honest, it was when my father passed away. I lost my father and sadly a baby very close together.
Okay.
Sorry.
And when I saw the invoice for looking after my father, I was fuming because I was like, what are they doing? Because there was care of the deceased on there. And I remember being so angry about that. So I only got the job to try to prove myself right that actually is a money-making, profiting off of death. And I was humbled real quick.
What came after that? Like, did you have to go into any training?
So I stayed as a funeral service operator for a little bit. And then I was lucky to actually get on a course quite quickly. And with the help of COVID as well, they were fast-tracking people left, right and centre.
Oh my God,
Right.
yeah.
And that's how I've become what I'm doing now. So it was quite a fast time. But yeah, I was an FSO for 2.5 years before that.
You talk about embalming.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever inquired, like...
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sadly, people seem to think when you're embalmed that is going to be a miracle worker and they're going to look peaceful and as they were. That's not always the case. You can embalm somebody and within 2-3 hours they're already sweating it out. You can and that's the thing, you can't ever sort of guarantee it's going to work. So if you've got a family who's upset about that, rightly so, well, how long have they been embalming? Have they embalmed before? Blah blah blah.
Right.
And if you haven't got the qualification, you have to be honest and say, I can embalm, but no, I don't have the qualification to embalm.
And that's never happened to you because you're fully qualified.
I'm fully qualified.
What was it like the first time, you've got all your qualifications
Yeah.
and, first day on the job? What's going through your mind at that point?
To be honest with you, because I was assisting with embalming quite a while anyway, I think the first one I did solo was a man and he was a straightforward case. So there was no having to open him up, remove everything. It was quite nice. So I was quite lucky in that respect. But again, bodies will surprise you.
Yeah.
You can think what's going to be a nice standard case, take 45 minutes to an hour. No, They can surprise you quite quickly.
Like what? Like is there
They can purge out in front of you. So
what's that?
basically bodily fluids up and down.
Up and down.
Yeah. And when I say
what's that?
horrendous, mucus, bowel movements, urine.
Just everything escaping.
If you roll them and all of a sudden their mouth drops open and they go, ugh, it's, yeah. So
Yeah, Saturday night.
Well, oh my gosh! And does that like? Is there a certain age where that happens more
Any
often?
Age.
I've got such bad embarrassment and self-awareness
Any
that
age.
I hate the thought of just like doing that in front of you.
And I think the longer you are, sadly, the longer you're dead, the more common it's going to be. If you can get in quite quickly after death to be seen to and cared for, chances are that's not going to happen. But if you've been, say, sadly, waiting for a post-mortem, you've been in a mortuary 3-4 weeks,
Right.
yeah, things happen quite quickly.
And this really weird question. I imagine that absolutely stinks.
Yeah.
What happens like when you go home? Like
Oh, my car reeks. Hardly anyone goes in my car. My car reeks badly. And also you can have a shower at work, which you do, but you can still smell it. It's, yeah.
So if they haven't done the coming out both ends thing, generally, what does a dead body smell like?
The only way I can describe it is imagine leaving a raw piece of chicken on a radiator for about 4 hours on full heat. That horrible, gone off
Is it
smell.
warm in there?
What, in the mortuary? No, it's freezing.
No, I was gonna say.
Okay.
But that, you know, when chicken goes off and you go, oh, that smell. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can liken it to.
The only time I've ever seen a dead body is when my nan passed away, and I always thought it was weird, but like she passed away at my aunt's house because she was like living there during like the last months of her life, and she passed away in the night when my aunt was there. But then they kept the body in the living room for hours. Like we like drove down and like there was nothing. They weren't doing anything, and that was just so bizarre. And I think she started like farting.
Yeah, release another gas. Yeah, that happens.
And like,
Does it sound like a fart or like
Yeah.
a?
More of a bit of like a bubbly sound to it. I'm trying to be professional there,
Of
but
course.
yeah, they can let them go. Yeah.
wow.
No, I've got embarrassment. I got embarrassment from my afterlife self. Could I ask from like a personal standpoint? Obviously, this is a very professional line of work, but if you look at death in like maybe a spiritual way, like do you believe in afterlife?
I
or-
do. I want to believe that once you're gone, you go elsewhere. I don't want to believe that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I am genuinely terrified of dying myself. It's because of that unknown.
Right.
And when I pass away, I don't want anything being done to me. Leave me alone, put me in the coffin, seal me,
Really?
and get me gone.
So you don't want to be embalmed?
No, I do not know. No.
Oh, that's reassuring.
I don't want that. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Has anyone you know asked in advance, like for you to embalm them?
My friend, yeah. So her grandmother was on end of life palliative care, and her grandmother made it quite clear no one else is touching me except for Hayley, and that was really, really difficult for me. It's not often I cry when I'm doing that, but
Yeah.
because I knew her and I felt pressure in a way because my
It's quite a
friend and
huge
everything.
burden.
Yeah, it was.
You don't. I
So-
suppose. Yeah. Like to them, it probably felt like an honor, but actually, it's quite.
For me, I was just, if I get one thing wrong, if I just
Yeah.
get one thing wrong, if something goes wrong, or if sadly, it's to the point where I can't embalm, what am I going to do? Thankfully, it did go as well as it should have gone.
Yeah.
So
What does a day-to-day look like for you?
A good
like,
day.
And how
good
many
day.
bodies are you working with?
so we can do anything between 4 and 6 a day.
Really?
That don't sound a lot, but if you think about if they're all having embalming done and they're all being dressed in makeup, that's quite
I think that
a
sounds
lot.
like loads.
Between a team of 4, it's not.
Oh, there's like
Yeah,
okay.
not really. So a good day would be you start your shift, you get your little handover, you go in, you make sure all the names are on the board, to the fridge. We call them body stores, but I'll call them a fridge here.
Okay.
And you make sure that they tally up with what's in the register. Then you get who's coming in tomorrow, families coming in. If any of them need to be coffined up, that can be done. If any of them sadly need to go off to post-mortem, you leave them where they are because they're coroners. Also, we do visits up to 10 o'clock at night. So if any family needs to be prepped, you would make sure that's done first so that the family come in, there's no waiting around. They can go and view their loved one. And then after that, then we get all our embalming supplies ready, and then we prep up.
Wow.
And that's a good day.
So like embalming is the actual like removing of the blood.
Yeah.
What-
Hygienically cleaning.
Hygienically. And so what do you do after you've removed the blood?
We fill them. I've got some stuff here. We fill them with arterial.
Oh my God.
So mixed with water, it's arterial fluid, and that's what's going to replace the blood. And that's what gives that normal colour looking in your skin. And again, you know, mixed with water to the right weight and height of the person.
That's what I was going to ask, because
Yeah, people can get it wrong, and then it's not repairable.
that is barely going to fill my belly up.
Yeah.
Let alone my whole
I
body.
reckon a bottle and a half.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. A bottle and a half, I think.
Don't take the order just yet.
oh my
But-
God. And what this the word is not inflates. I can't think what the word is.
It just replaces your blood.
This replaces you to your normal.
But it's diluted with water, is that
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
so a nice big jug of water. Like this, I think it looks like mouthwash.
I wouldn't drink it.
No,
I
just
really
ignore
wouldn't
that.
advise you do that.
It reminds me of that pink medicine I used to have as a child.
Oh,
Like, yummy.
yes, the antibiotic type thing. Yes, I remember
Don't drink that.
So once you've embalmed someone,
Yeah.
what's like the next step?
Well, it depends on how big the person is. You can be pumping, and the machine does it all for you. So it's not like you have to make sure that everything's tied and ready and it's still flowing. You can start with a hair wash then, or with fixing the
nice salon
hair.
treatment.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I can do acrylics, eyelashes, eyebrows.
Do you?
Yeah.
Teeth whitening.
Why would you want your teeth on show when you're dead? That'd be terrifying.
Think of it like that. I'm going to go like this.
Smiling.
I was going to say I've never had that one before. I think I would be like, oh no.
Well, interestingly, you said tied. So
Yeah.
what does that mean?
So we clip your artery to keep the flow going through.
Right.
It's about that long, the injector. It's about that long. So we need to make sure that it's going through at a nice fast pace. We massage your hands so you can feel it flowing through your hands. Don't really need to do it with the feet. Some people do, but unless their feet's going to be on show, don't really need to do that. Just keep you circulating behind the ears, your forehead, cheeks, just to make sure that there's no blockage. Because sadly, although we are taking the blood out, if there's some thick clots, it might need an extra bit of a flow.
Right.
And the machine will let you know that's happening when you get a bit of a back pull.
Right. And then in terms of our eyes, our mouth, our
Fake tan.
Eyes, yeah, we can do that,
No.
but it don't sit right.
Oh.
No, you look like a drumstick. It won't sit right, I'm
because
afraid.
there's not moisture in the skin.
It just
that's a
sits.
shame.
Yeah, even with a mousse, like if you do a bit of a mousse,
I've
don't
been wearing
look
fake
great.
tan since I was 15. It's a bit
Maybe
of
I
a
don't want to be
shame.
embalmed and I want to have a closed coffin.
that's what I'm going
Yeah.
with.
Fake tan.
Well, yeah, I know it sounds silly, but what is the purpose of embalming? Is it so people can see you, or is it
It's meant to preserve you so your loved ones can see you.
so? Okay,
It's not standard. It does not have to be done. A lot of people seem to think that embalming has to be done when you pass away. No, it's a choice.
right.
It's an absolute choice. It's recommended if you're not looking presentable, and that's the only easiest way I can say it.
Right.
You can get some deceased come in and you think they don't need embalming. They just need their facial set, eyes closed, mouth closed. Fine, they'll be okay. Some you look at and you just say, they're going to need a little bit of help here.
So like on the like that element, what's a bad day? Like what's one of the worst? Like not. I don't want to. You don't have to talk about specifics, but like
Anything to do with little angel babies.
Oh, of
So when we
course.
come in, we have a group WhatsApp. So we don't put anything other than a little angel emoji to say that we've got an infant in. We go on the board, and then there's only 2 of us who handle infants, myself included, and the other lady. And that's just a thing that we have been specifically trained to do. And that's really hard because it sets a tone for the whole shift then naturally. Then having to speak to the parents to see if the parents want to assist, that's daunting because, there's nothing nice about that. There's nothing nice. Suicide, sadly, as well. If people have taken their own life and their families were, not aware of any wrongdoing or anything going wrong, they come in and you can hear them begging them why didn't you speak? And that's really difficult. And another one is sadly people who walk in front of trains because there's nothing much left. That's horrendous. And having to try to weigh the coffin down, we use little sandbags, but you have to have some sort of weight in the coffin with them.
do you get
So,
much support? Like
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm really lucky. I have a fantastic team around me. My guys and girls are absolutely great, and there is support. But if I'm honest with you, if you're in this job, you have to be prepared to see some horrendous things. And I know for a fact I've not seen everything yet. And I think anyone who's in this profession who says I've seen everything, you really haven't, because you do not know what's coming in that door. And I think you need to always just be prepared that life is so incredibly precious. I get to go home, sadly, not sadly, but to my babies, but somebody hasn't, and that's what I take away from that. Like, I'm lucky that I'm still here, and this person felt they couldn't be. That will play on you for quite about week or two.
Yeah,
definitely.
You said the family friend you had like a personal connection to made you quite emotional.
Yeah.
Do you find generally that you get a little bit like worked up with any cases, or?
Only with little babies. I always call them angel babies because that's what they are.
Yeah.
The younger the gestation, my heart breaks because obviously I've had personal losses myself. So it's hard not to remember your own. You do.
Yeah.
But for me, you should never have to see a little baby in a mortuary, let alone being placed into a coffin by its parents.
Yeah.
That stays with you. I can remember every single little angel I've worked on, and it's cruel. Definitely cruel.
I guess, like, obviously there's a lot to unpack there, but like, you say you go home and how do you take your mind off of it? How do you kind of like...
My horse.
Your horses.
Oh, nice.
My horse, if I've had a really bad day, my family know. And first thing they'll be, go get your riding out and go.
Oh.
And I'm like, thank you. Literally, that's what I do. They know. If I sort of send a message and say, look, just give me half hour, an hour, they'll know. Otherwise, I'm normally okay.
Yeah. Is it like, do you know many other people like in your friend group that have this kind of profession? Because I know for certain, I don't know anyone that's taken on this kind of job.
Yeah, one of my friends who I've met through work.
I guess it's nice having someone to speak to about that kind of thing, because I wouldn't know how to speak and then relate. Like, it's such a extraordinary job, which I don't think many people would feel confident going into. Like I say, being scared of death myself, like it's pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh,
I'm terrified of death.
Yeah.
Look, genuinely, I'm scared. It's one of my biggest fears. So yeah.
Why is that? Has it made you more scared since working here?
Since working, I can see how quickly life can be taken away from you. And it could be an accident. It could just be not listening to your own body. And it's so important that we do appreciate life. Yeah. And now, because I'm a mum as well, I've got 4 children, I don't want to be in a coffin with them looking over me at all. I know I will at some point, but yeah, the thought of leaving my babies behind and them not having me, that's enough for me to go, no.
Yeah.
Don't want that.
Can you see yourself doing this job forever then, if it's something... Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Well, this maybe something quite personal, but it's a job that I can't imagine many people would want to do. What is the general pay grade for someone that looks after dead bodies?
I mean, it's comfortable is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, you don't have to divulge.
It's comfortable, but you have to be realistic in the sense of how many you can do a week. Some people will sign themselves up to do 20, 30 a week. And that's a rush job to get things done, and things can go wrong. Yeah. So you're never going to get rich off of it, but it's comfortable. That's what I will say.
Yeah.
It is like the idea of like going to the pub with my friends and sitting down and me talking about, oh, I did a video today, and then sit next to you talking about like, what you do really matters. It's kind of like puts a perspective on things.
I generally am very passionate about my job, more so because people don't know they have rights. And that's the most concerning thing for me, is people seem to think that when your loved one goes to a funeral home, you have to do exactly what they say. No, this is your family member still. This is your loved one. If you don't want them embalmed, they do not have to be embalmed. You do not need all the hidden extras that come with it. And that's why I use my TikTok to highlight this. This is your time of grief, but stand your ground. If you feel that actually, no, my mum or my dad or so-and-so didn't want this, or wouldn't have wanted that, say that. Definitely.
In terms of obviously paying homage in the best way possible to how a person looked when they were alive, what kind of resources do you use? Like photos, videos?
Photos are
actual
fantastic.
Makeup?
Yep.
Like,
my makeup is literally from Superdrug.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Superdrug.
my God.
Do you get like weird like requests? Because
Yes. There's one that comes to mind, and I'll never forget him. And his family allowed me to do a TikTok about him as well,
Really?
because it was different. I thought the funeral director, I thought he was taking the mickey out of me, because he said, you've got a gentleman in, he wants his nails done, he wants his eyebrows done, but extravagantly. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And he wants to wear this.
What was it?
It was a fishnet stocking dress.
Slay.
That is a full.
Well, I obviously looked and questioned this, and I said, people are coming to see him,
Yeah.
right? And they had nipple tassels, little star nipple tassels. And
That's incredible.
I remember ringing up
Takes
because I genuinely believed that Graham won't mind me naming him, the funeral director. He was like, no, this is legit. And I went, yeah, let me ring his family just to make
Yeah.
sure, because if he said no, I would have known. Be my guest. And I did. And they went, no, that's what he wanted.
Was it something that he?
Oh, yeah,
That's how he dressed.
he planned his funeral. He knew he was going to die for about a year and a half.
Wow.
And that's what he wanted. And I
I love that though.
yeah.
I love that, like, I mean, more in the sense that, like, I don't think it's my personal taste, but I love that you allow someone to go out the way that they want to.
Absolutely,
And it's
yeah.
all down to, like, their choices.
I scratched my head a lot during that one, that was for sure. It was just sort of trying to get things right and cover things up. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
there any no-goes when someone puts to you, this is what I'm going to be wearing, this is how I want to be presented?
I mean, that one I thought would have been, because it was quite, bearing all, shall I say, but we worked
Right.
around that. But no, I've never, the worst thing, and forgive me ladies on this, is when the elderly want to be buried in their wedding dresses.
Oh.
Ooh. Why is that?
It takes hours.
Ah.
It takes hours. And last thing I want to do is have to make an incision up a wedding dress to get it around.
Absolutely.
But a lot of, women want to go out in their wedding dress. Absolutely fine.
Is
but-
this a common thing?
Yeah.
As in, say if they passed away when they're elderly and it's something that they wore when they were
Easily
20.
do that 6-7 times a year, if not a bit more.
Is that just with the elderly or
No.
No.
Not necessarily, no.
I couldn't think of anything more uncomfortable
Yes.
than a big old tulle dress and the.
That's the thing. You have to think of how narrow a coffin is. We have to tuck said dress under, but keep it as floaty as we can.
Gosh.
That comes to complications. And yeah, that's a lot of rolling and manoeuvring. And I always say less is more. The less we handle the deceased, the better.
Yeah.
They're still a person. They're meant to be at rest.
Right.
But sadly, when it comes to dressing, you are rotating them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is there anything you like in terms of cremation? Is there anything you can't be worn?
There's certain types of shoes that can't go in. I think most trainers are now being accepted in some areas. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Things with batteries, no. So if you've got obviously a pacemaker, things like that have to come out. If you were very handy on a Game Boy or your phone or something, that's not allowed in. But I've never been told I can't have certain things to go in, no.
People being embalmed and then cremated.
Well,
Yeah.
'cause it's just so you can see the body. And then
Oh.
different
It actually
funerals.
speeds up the cremation process as well.
Does it?
It's flammable, highly.
Oh, good to know.
Good to
Yeah.
know.
Sorry, Bob.
What would you want to wear?
I was about to ask you that.
What would
yeah.
I like to?
Had you given it much thought about?
Stick me in my pajamas and fluffy socks and seal the lid on me. That's
Oh.
it.
Yeah,
God, what would you wear?
not a wedding dress.
No. I think I'd like to go out in a really sexy black tux, black sunglasses, brat in life and death.
Yeah.
We wouldn't put your hands like
Oh,
that.
Oh, that's just in the film.
Oh, is that what you'd want?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like that.
We'd have to
Billy's
maybe
crossing his
tape you
hands
down a
over
little
his
bit.
arm.
Yeah.
My
Are
God.
people ever holding things?
Yeah.
Do you ever?
Yeah. We get people holding things.
I don't know what I'd want to wear, and I don't like to think about it. To be honest, I really, truly hate any thought of after death. I'm going to live forever.
I always think about my funeral, on a daily basis. It's my Roman Empire.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't like that. So.
No. I just think about
I
I
don't
think
think that's
about
a normal
food.
thing. Yeah. I like thinking about living, Billy.
Oh.
Next
well,
holiday maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
well, you want the flowers to be right. You want the right people. Certain people don't want to come. Certain
Yeah.
people should be there. And if they're not there, then I'll get a ghosting.
Would you want to meet the person that was going to embalm you and prepare your body for the afterlife?
I don't think so.
Really?
No. What? Who? Maybe. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, if you're thinking about the rest of
Yeah,
it.
well, I'm thinking about the nice decorations, the music, the party.
Yeah.
It changes all the time. I think I'd like to be cremated to Crazy in Love by Beyonce.
Oh, cremated.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Go out
Oh.
with like a bang.
Is there ever any music playing when
Yeah,
you...
we have the radio on or Spotify on. Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Any songs that are like banned from playing? Like
Yeah, some funeral directors get a little bit iffy, but...
Michael Jackson Thriller comes on.
No, we like that. That's a good one.
We like
that. We like that. Have a little shimmy. It's all right.
Okay.
There was actually a myth that when you embalm a person, do people ever sit up?
They do not sit up.
Oh.
Do they do anything weird, or is it like a case just apart from that? What's the weirdest?
Turn their insides out over you now and then, but apart from that, they're pretty still and they're good company. Yeah.
Oh.
Does,
Do you speak to them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Always. Yeah.
That's quite
I like
sweet.
that.
Yeah,
I like the
that.
thought of that.
Yeah, like someone's not just poking me about.
Existing.
No, we always say sorry. I always put a flannel over their face so they can't see me do it, because that's my worst thing. Like, even though their eyes are probably still open at that point and they can't see, but for me, I just think cover their face, and I always apologise. And then we just talk about the day, family coming in, things like that. And if we're having to turn them, like, really sorry, quick bump.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's really nice.
we do speak to them.
Yeah.
Do you say the eyes are open or they're shut?
More times they're open. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, your eyes will be partially opened or fully opened upon dying.
Really?
Yeah.
So like, what about anything creepy? Is there any, I don't know, being around death that much, and I used to watch a lot of supernatural things, my mind goes to
Don't
like...
believe the TV.
No.
Don't believe it.
Do you believe in like paranormal?
Yeah.
You do? Has
Yeah.
anything creepy ever happened?
I never believed in ghosts, believe it or not, until I moved into my last house.
Really?
That's what changed me. In the mortuary, I've never had anything spooky.
Okay.
But in one of the viewing rooms, which is in a funeral home in Amesbury, yeah, that's a little bit bizarre in there. That's quite odd. And I, again, thought people were winding you up. But when the family come out and sort of say, look, that's just fallen off the table. We were nowhere near it. What's going on? Look, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, it's just probably rolled off. There's no way it could have rolled off. But yeah, the lights would turn on and off on their own. I've got 4 or 5 TikTok videos of that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And when you're kind of preparing a body, do you ever feel like certain... You don't yourself,
Never.
but it's the
No.
family.
The families feel it, yeah.
Wow. And just a side note, where does the blood go?
Well, so some places will have like a really big container, then you just stick it down a septic sink. Or if you're lucky enough to have enough space to get the body as close to a septic sink, you can filter it out that way.
And that just goes down the drain?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Don't know what I'd want to do with my blood.
I don't think you got a choice.
It's not usable.
It's not usable at that point, that's what I
No.
was going to say. That's a shame.
Well, that's creepy about the supernatural stuff. Does anyone else you know, has anything happened to them? Like,
Yeah, my son.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he terrifies me, generally.
Your son does.
Yeah.
Do you think he just knows too much, or is there a chance?
No, I
he-
just think he's either got a very wild imagination or he's probably going to be in the papers at some point in the next few years.
What
So
for?
he's always had like an invisible friend, and then it stopped. Happy days. But he will go into any room and he'll be like, there's a man stood there. You all right, kid? Like, yeah, just give me that juice a minute. Make sure it's not like mummy juice.
He's been drinking that.
Yeah. But no, he can walk through anywhere and you'll just be like, there's a woman over there. And you're just looking, going, it's a bushmate. Like, keep walking. He's not done that for a while, touch wood. But yeah. And in the old house, yeah, that was, like I said, that was really bizarre. And that happened from day dot. Things were happening. Even like me and Luke, we were just there going, what was that? And my cat would go mental as well. Sit on the stairs hissing and spitting at something. There was nothing there.
In terms of like dealing with families as well, like how is it just through like experience and like over the years you're growing how to know how to deal with them?
No one person's the same.
Yeah.
And you can get some families who grieve in a way where they're actually quite laughy and jokey, quite talkative, and it's lovely. It's really nice. Some are silent and some are obviously very visibly upset. Some can take their frustration out on you, naturally, understandable,
Yeah.
especially if we have to say, sadly, a closed coffin has had to happen because your loved one don't look the same. That's horrendous to have to tell somebody
Yeah.
you can't say goodbye to your loved one you have to say goodbye to a closed coffin. You're public enemy number one, and I get it.
Yeah.
But they can be quite nasty in that respect, and I understand. I do.
Do you just have to take that as
Yeah.
like water off a duck's
Absolutely.
back?
There's
Yeah.
no. I am not going to stand there and argue with them
Yeah.
and try to reason with them. They cannot say goodbye to their family member. That's heartbreaking. So you have to let it go over you, and then have a little cry out in the vaping shed after.
Yeah, I imagine I would vape a lot.
Yeah, I
This
do.
job.
Oh my gosh, I don't really know what the environment looks like in which you prepare the body. Is it really clinical? Is there anything you do to make the workplace seem a little bit like warmer and nicer?
It has to be a temperature for obvious reasons. So
Yeah.
it's always chilly in there. It is clinical, but some funeral homes probably are still in the Victorian times, and they need to up a little bit. Yeah.
Are there any like more modern tools that you use now versus what was around?
Yeah,
years ago?
100%. Like the injectors and stuff like that. I still use an old-fashioned suture needle to close the mouth. Some people use the injector, which basically pumps top and bottom, spin it around, mouth closed. I hate that thing.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't get it equal. So it's just awful. So I just don't use it. I just use an old-fashioned suture.
Oh my gosh! And you were saying about the
Yes.
the jaw thing. Can you explain that? So if someone isn't properly trained in embalming,
Sadly, there are situations where I can't name the company, but yeah, they don't train their staff properly, and they don't do any practice, anything on fake heads, fake mouths, nothing. And it looks awful because you can get a jaw that is not sitting right. It could be tilted, a tongue not set back right, sticking out like prodding the cheek, and the lips are non-existent. And that's
I wouldn't deal with
no,
that.
that's horrendous for
No.
families to see. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
do. There's been many times, I think, where myself and two others who I work with as well have had to be called in and say, look, can you try to sort this? And it's not right because this person's meant to be at rest now.
Sure.
They shouldn't be prodded and poked around all the
Messed
time.
around with.
And that's what, sadly, a lot of people don't think about is that person is still a person. And now they're having to have a suture removed, which isn't easy, and have to redo it again in hopes that you're not going to essentially pierce any skin. If they've got skin slip, then there's no point even trying because you're just going to ruin everything.
What skin slip?
Yeah.
Exactly as it sounds, your skin slips off you. And it sticks to your gloves. It's quite putty like.
Can you
Oh,
do,
you're
like,
joking.
No,
Could you put Botox in people when they're gone?
your wrinkles would be gone anyway.
Really?
Oh.
A lot of
There's a
elderly
hack for
people
you.
look a lot more younger.
Wow. I remember, like going back to when my nan passed away, she just bloated out and it looked like a doll.
Bloated.
Like she went, really puffy. And she wasn't embalmed at this point. This was like before.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
yeah.
She was farting.
Yeah, well, when she was farting in her sleep.
Oh, plus.
Sorry.
She that's why it was like there's like not really an emotional attachment to it because it didn't
So it didn't even look like
it looked
her.
like one
Yeah.
of those like wax figures that have gone wrong at Madame Tussauds.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Bless
Anne.
your nan. It's absolutely ripping her.
Yeah, she'll be laughing.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Something could come flying at your head later on tonight.
Yeah.
You know, that, don't you?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I guess on the same beat as that, is there anything that people might not know about the experience, the process that would surprise them?
I think a lot of people don't realise during a post-mortem examination, people seem to think that your organs are put back where nature intended. They're not.
not?
No.
Oh.
Is it
They're
just-
all put in a clinical bag, back inside your torso and your chest cavity and your stomach, abdomen, and your suture back up. So your brain's not in your head. Yeah, no.
Brains in your belly.
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
Yeah.
Oh.
really freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but does that mean my head would be concaved in a bit,
No,
or was there
'cause we put-
something
no,
else?
Just your skull.
Skull.
We put like the back of your cranium straight back in.
Oh.
And then
Suture you up
everything
and you're all
else
good.
is Just thrown in like a goodie bag.
It's a bag. But yeah.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah.
Because once you start cutting and taking things out, it's not going to go back.
Um,
It's that you're just going to wobble. And if things are starting to purge out,
right.
yeah, it's best to keep it all contained.
Oh, I suppose it's, that does make sense. You do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you find, like, obviously you said that some of these homes are still not as modern as others. Do you find that it's difficult as a woman in this industry?
Yeah.
How so?
It's still quite a man-orientated industry. I'm seeing a lot of women, do not get me wrong, for anyone says anything, I'm not. But it's still very much a man's way, no way. And this is why I've attracted a lot of hate from men across the country in this profession, is because the older generation of funeral directors would never sit and discuss this so openly, whereas I think it's important.
I love that you do.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
You'd be surprised.
It's such a taboo thing, and I think that's what makes people so terrified of discussing options around their death, that it ends up with the families being taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Is that why you started the TikTok?
Yeah, 100%, because there was a lot of things I thought, well, this shouldn't, does the family know this? Like, is the family aware? Oh no, it's okay, they'll just be charged anyway.
What?
Whoa.
And that's why then I went to my manager and I said, look, I really think I've got something here educational wise.
Yeah.
He was like, not too sure. And after about 3 months of me just badgering, he drew up a contract, said, right, you can speak about this.
Yeah.
And it just took off from there.
See, that's why, like you said earlier, would you like to meet who embalmed you? Thinking about it, I don't think I would want a man embalming me.
Absolutely not.
No.
I don't even like living male doctors.
I
my
know some
body.
men embalmers who are absolutely fantastic,
Sure, of
caring,
course,
amazing.
yeah.
The person who helped me through my training, he was Embalmer of the Year.
Wow.
Andy, I can honestly tell you, anyone in his hands are in the best hands possible.
I suppose
That's nice.
I'm maybe portraying, like in my mind, I'm drawing up a really... the embalmers from Nanny McPhee. There I
Right.
said it. Like,
Right.
they're really old.
fictional.
No, but like they're based on
Depictions.
people, aren't they? You know the ones I'm talking about.
I do.
Like like the old men in that.
Right.
Like, versus like, yeah, I just don't think I would want that.
I think it's just that idea that it's definitely for us, like a woman's touch is a lot more delicate.
Yeah.
But
A lot of times women is requested.
Yeah.
Especially if a woman has had a bad experience or something like that. That's definitely something we are seeing a lot more of.
And going back to your like answer regarding a lot of hate you're getting from other men.
Yeah.
Can you like elaborate on that? Like what?
Yeah, they contact my workplace.
Really?
Yeah, they've done that.
What's the issue?
Basically, I'm broadcasting what should be kept behind closed doors.
And what are they saying when they reach out to your work?
That I'm deplorable, I'm disgusting, and that I should be stricken off. Basically, my manager very kindly puts an email back and says, well, if you put everything that she's put wrong, has she been correct, then we'll go further. But she's more than capable of what she's doing. I remember one phone call was actually an elderly man in, funny enough, Milton Keynes that way. I've been a funeral director 57 years and I have never seen something so horrific being exploited over TikTok. And my manager said, well, unsubscribe and don't follow her then.
Good.
I mean,
That
with
must be
anything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's just archaic to assume that like ultimately death should be kept behind closed doors
Yeah.
because it's 2024. Like I think the generation, a lot of us are quite scared of death.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
It's quite natural.
naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the processes that come after it should not be something that hush, because it just makes it
Yeah.
even more.
I
Like,
think it's
seems very
important families
dark.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think families need to know that they do have rights. And actually, funerals are expensive. They are
Yeah.
incredibly expensive.
Right.
And a lot of the things that funeral directors charge, you don't need.
Yeah.
You don't need. So
Maybe that's why they're getting so angry.
very much so. It's all money.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's all money.
But yeah, they'll say that you're the one that is exploiting people.
Possibly. I let them crack on.
Yeah. Well, I think the way that you handle it and your manager handles
Yeah.
it is.
I think I'm very respectful. I never show deceased on my TikToks ever. Yes, I film in the mortuary, but I've got permission. And, you know, when I open up the body store to show you the shelving unit where the bodies go, there's no deceased in there at that time. So I'm very respectful. I'm very polite in my responses. And I just think it's a shame that you have to come onto social media to type hate. Quite frankly, scroll on. That's what I tend to do.
Yeah.
So
if you're seeing something you don't like, just
this is
move
it.
Yeah. Talking in like a broad range, how much money does it cost for a person to be embalmed?
Anything from 180 to about 350.
Oh, that's quite cheap.
£180 to £350.
And like,
350.
are there generally like extra charges?
Not all of us have extra charges, to be honest. It's a set fee. So the higher, like the 350 would be if they need a complete full working. You're talking body molds, wax, reconstruction, everything.
A
Right.
full set of
Full-
nails.
Nah, that come under the 180. That's fine.
That's nice.
But
Instead of acrylics, please.
Yeah.
infills normally.
Yeah.
Infills in a file.
Oh,
But yeah, it's not something. But again, the funeral directors call us in. But some funeral directors will put their own charge on top of that for calling us in. We don't, as an embalmer, we don't see that. We see the
Right.
money that we charge the funeral home, but on the invoice, it would be for the time of using their facilities.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And of course, you share your whole journey, all of this on TikTok.
Yeah.
Can I ask, like, what your most asked questions are? What are the biggest morbid curiosities there are people have to
Do we
ask
remove the eyes?
Oh,
Do you?
No.
Oh.
We have little eye caps we put in the eyes.
Right.
How do we suture a mouth? One of my pinned videos is showing you how we suture, and I have brought a suture here to show you.
Oh, can we see?
Yeah.
So what is that's when you close the mouth?
Yeah.
Is that not related to Kama Sutra?
Could you imagine?
No.
That's an eye cap.
Oh wow! I thought they would look like have different colours on them, like contact lenses.
Like a glazed wasp eye.
I'll have
This is
snake lens.
a mouth guard that will help keep your lips in place.
Okay.
So they're all bumpy.
Can I feel it?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
This
put it in.
goes in. Oh my gosh, the spikes.
Do you want to describe this
It
for audio?
looks almost like
A mouth
a
guard.
Mini, yeah, but it looks
We
like a
can
mini
cut it
eye
to
shield,
size as
doesn't it?
well. And
it
this
to
is what
size.
we would use to suture.
This looks like a fish hook, everyone listening.
It's
Yeah, this is like almost like a crochet needle, not crochet, embroidery needle.
Oh, that makes me shudder. That does.
that goes through here,
Okay.
up through your septum, back down, through the top gun, bottom one, and we just knot it through.
Gosh. Put that on a sewing machine.
Nope.
Sorry.
I'm right with holding that
Yeah,
one.
you
Thank you, Billy.
Are you sure?
That's
So
crazy.
that's literally a quick 5-minute job.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Quick
And you
if they've got no teeth.
oh.
A lot quicker.
I still want my teeth out when I get.
I mean, I've never had that request, and if I'm honest, I don't know how we would form your. I'm not really sure. We could probably.
I look like the
hook
Joker,
you-
wouldn't
yeah.
I? Like some little strings.
That's horrible.
If I'm honest, it would be terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can you ask to be put in a certain pose, like a
We have like girls who want their hands
oh
like that to show off any rings or anything. We've had that as
That's
well.
That's quite nice.
But no, I wouldn't say we've had any.
Unusual poses.
No, it'd be quite difficult in a coffin, to be fair, because you've only got so much room,
Oh yeah.
and we've got to get a lid on you as well. So we don't want to
fair.
be hammering your knees down, really.
oh god, knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
Do you have any people that have like natural burials?
Yeah, natural burials.
So does that change your process?
Yeah, if you're having a natural burial, we would obviously say no embalming with that one, if at all possible, because the whole point of natural is you're going
Right.
natural. Also, we would use a coffin, it's normally wicker, but there is sort of like another type of coffin as well, which is like a willowy type,
Right.
and that will help when you decompose to absorb all your fluids essentially, and that will then be able to help with the tree that's growing or the bush that's growing in
I
place.
actually really like that idea.
There's a place just past Andover. It's absolutely beautiful. Natural burial grounds. It's gorgeous.
I think that's how I'd like to go.
Natural burial in a pod.
And little pods with a little tree growing outside of me.
How
Well,
much
not
does that
outside.
cost?
Lot cheaper than
Is
the
it?
standard. Yeah.
You don't need, I suppose, the embalming, or are the coffins less expensive?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
How much is a coffin?
Depends on the size. So your size,
Oh, don't size me up like
about
that.
$6.50
$6.50.
I'm expensive, darling.
Oh.
Get
for a
them.
wicker with no flowers. So that this is basic.
Oh, you'd want some flowers,
Oh,
wouldn't you?
absolutely.
Yeah, your costs have just gone right
Yeah.
up.
$4,000 on flowers, please.
What a great... I don't know. The thought of it all was just crazy. Would you go in and pick the coffin whilst you're looking at the body?
That's not my area.
Oh,
No.
right. Okay, sorry.
no,
sorry,
they
sorry.
come in and we're just told what one to put them in.
So if anyone's had any cosmetic procedures, how does that sit in the body after
Well,
death?
these cost $5,000. They ain't going anywhere, so they're staying. Okay.
Fair fucking enough.
What happens if they get... Well, not what happened. Ignore me then. I was going to say, what happens if they get thrown in the goodie bag with everything else?
There's no reason to
No.
remove them. They're there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, if there was filler or anything in the face, would that migrate?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, lips can look a lot more protruding.
Yeah.
Because you've got to remember, when you're looking at your loved one, you're looking at it from a bird's eye view. You're looking down. So you might look a little bit more swollen in that respects. But apart from that, we've got no reason to dissolve anything.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I think it must have been like an old myth that like people who had, like some people who had so much Botox that they weren't allowed to be buried.
Oh, because the plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic in the ground.
That's a complete myth.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, wait, but what if they were getting... What if under the fire? What's it called again? Cremated.
Cremated.
Burned at the stake.
Might be a bit more sticky to begin with, but you'll be soon ash, so you'll be all right.
Gosh. Who was it that... There's a celebrity that died and I believed it as if it was gospel, that they weren't allowed to be cremated because they had so much silicone and...
You read too much crap online,
I mean,
really.
breast implants, things like that can be
There's
cremated
no
quite,
issue with
yeah.
So other than the... Can people be buried with eyeballs? Is there any other popular questions?
Do they sit up?
Do they sit up?
No.
And that's a no.
That's a firm no. Again, making noises, they do. They do gasp.
Is that scary?
Oh, what? Gasp? Like,
Yeah.
Gasp.
Yeah, if you're moving them or if you hit like a bump or something, they go like that.
Oh,
yeah.
that must be terrifying, no?
It was. At first, you'd be like checking shit, like, you okay? But
Are you sure we want to do this?
you're right there. But now it's just like, oh, yeah, he's okay.
we did see a question on your TikTok
Go on.
about when a certain bit of
A male's appendage, yeah.
the inflation, dare I say.
We talk about sex all the time. You talked about your bumhole yesterday. Come on.
Sorry.
Say
I
penis.
mean, if we get you fresh enough, and I do mean fresh, like still pretty much in that moment, maybe, but there's nothing pumping, so you're going to go down. We don't strap you down, we don't cut it off, and we don't...
Cut it off.
Yeah, no, we don't. The worst we will do is just put something over it in case you leak.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is there anything you could do to make them smell a bit nicer? Like a perfume wouldn't do the job.
We spray them with perfume or aftershave,
Oh, that's
obviously,
nice.
so that the family have that smell.
Yeah, that's nice.
We do wash them. We do wash their hair, but sadly, when the smell has properly set in, that's why you have like scented in the room. You go and see your loved one, you'll see like plug-in scented candles and stuff,
lush.
just to help mask that.
I need one in the box, I reckon.
You want one in the box,
Yeah, a little kind of air freshener in the box with me.
just so it puffs up when your loved one's looking over you.
One of those automatic ones.
Chanel Bleu de Parfum.
Wait, I have a question. How often do you see people getting buried in bras?
Not often.
Yeah, because I think that's the worst thing. Be so
No.
uncomfortable in heaven and coffin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be fuming if I was to go in a bra.
Yeah.
Thank you. The reason I pay $5,000 is so that I don't need to wear them all the time. So no, not often,
Oh,
if
that's
I'm
good.
honest.
Pants?
More often than not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Darling.
Modesty,
A bit of
sorry.
modesty.
Sorry, if my ladies are hanging loose, I might as well just go full
Don't worry, we'll
commando.
make sure that they're right on the chest, not on the armpits. We do that.
Oh, that's... How do you do that?
Tape.
Ooh,
Just body tape.
really?
And then once we obviously set your arms, because we set your arms in such a way like this.
Oh, lush.
And then we interlock your...
Like a
So,
little-
yeah. There you go. So don't worry, you'll be
Like a
cut.
Tudor. Bump.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do people ever take photos?
Really?
They do, yeah. We obviously we do offer it for infants. We offer photos to be taken with the family, but yeah, they do take photos of their loved ones, and that's their right. At the end of the day, that's going to be the last time they're going to physically see their loved one. I have no issues with that at all whatsoever. To be fair, I wish when my father passed away, I had a camera phone back then because I didn't, and I would have absolutely took photos of my father. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I think for a lot of people, it can be so distressing when you see a person in their last moments of life.
Yeah.
So it must be an amazing thing to see someone, at least a nice last memory.
That's the thing. When somebody is terminally ill and they're passing away, they don't look the same. They look
Don't look
so
like
poorly.
themselves.
They look so sad. And then they generally look at peace when they pass away. And a lot of families always say they look better now than what they did 3-4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's even before an embalming. So
I remember actually, because I
Yeah.
didn't go to see my nan when she passed away, but my aunt came back and said like it was actually a real kind of like relief because she looked at peace. She looked
Yeah.
a lot, like she just looked almost more like herself than what she did in the
All
last.
their pain's gone.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. We hear that probably weekly. They look better than what they did a few weeks ago.
That must be really like empowering.
Yeah.
It's lovely because obviously, sadly, I don't know them before they passed away. I only see your loved ones when they are sadly deceased. So it is nice to hear that the family's gone away with a positive. And there's nothing positive about the job in that respect. Sadly, this worst part of their life, they're grieving. But when you hear that feedback, you think, okay, I've given them a goodbye, a peaceful goodbye. And again, it doesn't always happen, sadly. And we do get feedback, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah, how do you do, like, say if someone's,
It
her hair wasn't
breaks
curled that way?
me. It breaks me because you try and you can only do so much.
Of course, yeah.
And we ask for pictures, but if we suture the mouth and the lips don't sit right, that's quite a big thing
Yeah.
for somebody who, wants to remember their loved one and her mouth never sat like that. That it breaks me because I think I can't do anything about that now, and I just
Yeah.
want to make it right. And I think all of us feel that, to be fair, because it's not something you should be rushed. You should take your time, 100%, and you should be able to go to the family, right, I've seen these pictures, I think I've got enough. But again, we can't always get it right, and that's the hardest part.
How often can a person see their loved ones?
I mean, they could see them every day if they wanted to.
How long are they there for?
Average wait for a funeral now is between 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So they are there a while. But what I would always say is be guided by the funeral director. If you come in on one day and they say, look, today might have to be the day, is the last day, please know they're saying that for a very good
Yeah.
reason.
What would denote a last day? Like what state?
We would see changes. We would see mold creeping in. Once mold sets in, we're not going to be getting rid of that. Also, the facial structure breaks down, so we can see the bridge of the nose starting to collapse in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, really morbidly. We were talking about like the other day, weren't we? Like how long until
you start decomposing.
like
If without embalming, you start to decompose straight away internally, so it's quite quick. But for it to be visible, 3-4 weeks for it to actually start to show in the face.
this is probably going to be a really dumb question, but when you die, can you still have allergic reactions?
Somebody asked me that, and do you know what? I've never had that. I've never seen anything, but I'm guessing I'm only guessing here. I'm
Yeah.
going to say no because you've got nothing
Telling the
inside you to
brain.
no. So, yeah, I have had people ask me that, and to be honest, all of us have been sat there looking at each other, going, "Oh, I don't know. Actually, we've not had anyone come up with hives. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So,
That's good.
Yeah.
Would you ever have to dye people's hair or anything?
just touch the roots up, but
Oh,
never had to
nice.
done a full dye. I don't think I'd want. Could you imagine?
my
That
God.
would
Are
singe.
you trained? So you say you can do nails,
Yeah.
eyelashes and stuff. Well, you had to be trained in that. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Do you do it on a live people too?
Yes, I do makeup for people as well. Yeah.
Could I just ask one quick question before you round up? So obviously you mentioned that you wouldn't want to be embalmed.
No.
Is there a reason for that? Or
Yeah, I've seen the process. I'm not going for that. Thank you.
Right, okay.
No, embalming is intrusive. There's no way to get around that. Sadly, it is intrusive. And if you've had a post-mortem, we have to open you back up, take your bag of organs out, and we have to dig to find your carotid artery. It's not an easy process. And then it's not something I want.
Yeah.
It's not something I want.
No. Do you see many young people like wanting to get into the profession?
Yeah, more definitely.
Really?
I think a lot of people want to join the job thinking it's going to be quite graphic and gory, and it's not.
Really?
It's really not.
Apart from the big old bag of insides.
And the
but again,
digging
it's
into the.
I suppose if you're
but
used
it's not
to
because you
it.
don't bleed out, so it's not all that graphic. Literally, you make the incision, you just get through the fatty tissue, tweezer it out, and you're away. It's
Oh wow, it's a lot neater than I'm imagining.
Yeah.
yeah. So
I'm
never
imagining,
listen.
like
Bloodbath.
Sweeney Todd.
None of that.
No.
None of that.
Oh. Wow. I mean, I'm yet to meet someone wants to go into the profession, but
Yeah, we were saying it's like one of those jobs that I like know exists, but can't imagine
You'll
it.
have to visit my workplace for a day.
Oh my god.
oh wait,
Yeah,
can we do that?
can do. Yeah,
Oh, that would be scary.
be fine. We order Domino's on a night time, so you're good.
Oh, I love that.
How long did it take you to become desensitized to this job?
It took me a while.
Yeah.
It didn't come easy to me. There was definitely a good few months where I was like, ooh. And the smells, especially going in, going, oh my days. I would chain smoke just to have the smell of cigarettes
Oh,
rather than,
Christ.
yeah.
Oh wow.
And then when I started obviously becoming quite ill with that, I was like, we'll go on the vape instead. So,
Nice.
It's
but
nice
yeah,
smell of,
it
like-
took a while. But now, like I said, there are sites that come in, and even to now, you'd be like, oh, okay, bless your heart. But you do generally get used to it.
Wow. And like, is there anything that you think like the public should be aware of, or?
There's a big thing that myself and another mortician, her name is Evie the mortician. She's also on TikTok. She's got a petition going at the moment. People who lose babies under 24 weeks are not entitled to a funded funeral and are often turned away for funeral homes. And the hospitals will disregard of the remains. That's the wording, yeah. And it's really important that this is changed, because it doesn't matter what gestation you lose a baby, that little life deserves a funeral. And if people can maybe just go and sign that petition, that would be amazing.
We'll link it.
Yeah.
Thank
Actually,
you.
nice.
Oh, that would be
Link that.
amazing.
Sure,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That's crazy. That
It's horrendous. Women also, they have their baby and they are kept on the labour ward hearing babies being born around them, and they have to walk out of that. There's not many hospitals have a separate area away from a labour ward, and that's quite traumatic. And if you have a miscarriage under 12 weeks, they basically tell you to flush down the toilet, and yeah, it's awful. Truly awful.
Jesus. I mean,
words for that.
I think this is a very dark side
It's something that needs to be addressed massively, and there are failings within the NHS regards to that. One hospital, I'm not going to name them, but they're quite close to my area, so people know. They actually give the women condoms after they've miscarried their baby. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That, and yeah, me and my couple of others, when we read that, we were like,
Ooh,
Jesus
what the hell? So yeah, it's quite barbaric.
horrific. I mean, I feel like we can find out a lot about your profession and more information about that on your TikTok, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very open about that, and
Okay.
definitely share the cruel side of miscarriages and how women are treated after that, definitely.
And
Yeah.
for the audience listening at home, what is your TikTok?
The mortuary tech.
Nice, amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to us
Thank you
today.
for having me.
It's been very interesting,
Enlightening.
enlightening. I can't say I'm any more comfortable with the idea of death,
Sorry.
but that's fine. That's not what you had to do
I
here.
am. I think I.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think kind of like enlightened my eyes to.
You're just
exactly
going to
how
be
I'm
absolutely fabulous in your coffin,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah.
Oh, I love it. No, it's really interesting. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for coming
That's
on.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
having me.
No problem at all. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Thank you all.